Welcome to Tradeshow Media Today. My name is Paul Barron. I'll be your host. We're going to be talking about everything from digital content, social media, and even publishing for trade shows, events, and associations. Make sure and check us out at tradeshowmediapartners.com. So Joe, thanks a lot for stopping in on this episode of Tradeshow Media Today. Actually, it's our inaugural episode, so thanks again for taking time out of your day today.
Wonderful to be here, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Now, you are kind of the evangelist, I think, of the industry when it comes to content creation. First of all, tell us a little bit about who you are and your company.
So, Joe Pulizzi, I've been in the content marketing industry as it is for well over a decade now. Got my roots in custom publishing. As most people know or don't know, content marketing has been around for hundreds of years, but we've all sort of coordinated around this term called content marketing, and I've been basically educating and training organizations, corporations, non-media companies, on how they can actually think and act more like media companies, and we do this around our institute called the Content Marketing Institute. So we do corporate training, events, we do a magazine called Chief Content Officer, and our big event every year is every September called Content Marketing World, which is the largest event where corporate side content creators get together and figure out how they can attract and retain customers by creating compelling content.
Yeah, so obviously, our show is really focused on trade shows, associations, media groups. And trade shows and associations really are one of the few sectors in business right now that probably have the most content in terms of membership opportunity, and especially at the events themselves. As you know, promoting an event yourself, that creates just a whole array of new content opportunities. In your opinion, when you look at tactics and ideas of how the trade show and event organizations, associations could use content, what would you see some ideas that would really work in this sector?
Well, it's interesting. Working with associations is an interesting group because traditionally, you're right, they have reams and reams of content in all different formats. But traditionally, most of that has been locked behind some kind of firewall or member-only type content, which makes sense, right? That's their value proposition for members. But what we talk to and try to work with a lot of associations on is actually changing that scenario. So instead of 90% of that content locked down, I want to open up 90% of that and make that freely available. Because of the social channels that are available today, we want people to share that so that we can direct people ultimately back to us. And if we lock that content down, we're never going to get people that we can't reach to know about us. So what we want to do then, and also we're competing with so many different entities today. The association content or trade show content of the past, there weren't that many competitors. Now there's a competitor around every corner. You've got your members that are competitors. They're doing their own events, their own content. So that premium content has to be so good and so differentiated. So we have to keep all that free content, that all consistent content going to generate them back to that premium content or premium event or whatever. Most associations are very bad at doing this, and they don't want to do it. They don't even want to listen to it, because really what that means is almost looking at the business model differently and changing the model of maybe our member proposition isn't just around the content. Maybe it's around the events, or it's around bringing people together, or the networking, or the real premium content, not the base content. So it's tough for a lot of these entities, but really because it's an equal playing field today. Everyone has the same opportunities from a technology standpoint, from a talent standpoint, to create that content. So we've got to find a way to differentiate ourselves, and it's frankly not easy to do.
Yeah, and it seems like that is a challenge for associations because of the fact that you are dealing with so many channels of great content, even to the certain level, premium content, and it's not typically coming from just the media companies. It's coming from other organizations within the industry, special interest groups, and so on. So it seems to me, when you look at associations and even events, trade shows, that they're starting to get a lot more competition around the core thing that they can offer to their members, which is content and education and understanding about what's happening in the industry.
That's exactly right. I mean, we're an entity ourselves that teach non-media companies and non-associations how they can create this content and actually act more like associations and media companies. So, I mean, we're probably part of the problem, I would imagine, with some of the issues that are going on. But what we teach our members and our customers that we have, our readers, we need to teach them that they need to think and act more like media companies, because we need to earn attention today. You can't just buy attention anymore.
Right.
Of course, that model has gone. If you've got a ton of money, you can do a lot with it, but most organizations don't. We've got to look at the assets we have from an marketing investment standpoint. So we've got to create really, truly compelling best-of-breed content to get attention. So that means if you are on the event side, you're on the trade show side, you're on the association side, you actually have to do it better than all those companies that you're competing against. You have to find out where your niche is, that you can truly be the informational provider for your industry and target that. What we've seen a lot of associations do, they go wide, very broad, very thin in all those areas. That's not going to work anymore. It's not going to cut it. You've got to go very deep and very niche. And that's what all companies need to be doing. But I think from an association standpoint, you can't be all things to all people. So a lot of the associations we work with, they're changing their model entirely to say, you know what, we're going to let these 4 areas, we're going to let somebody else handle that. We know we can be really good at this one. We can have the leading event, we can have the leading content platform, we can be the leading social content leaders in that area and focus on that. And again, you're seeing it over and over again. I'm sure you've seen it too, Paul, where you've got associations, trade shows completely redoing their business model at this time because you have to be competitive. You can't have watered down content. It's not shareable content. It's not going to help the business.
Well, and I think that you hit it right there on the head, is that when you look at content creation, over the past few years, content creation has kind of gone the way of anybody and everybody going out, whether it's a podcast or even what we're doing here today. And that's one of the things that, of course, we're focusing on, is just the trade show and association niche, and really talking about how great quality content can be developed in those areas. So, you've been doing this for a while, so you've seen all the things that do work and don't work. What would be some of the things that you look from a tactical standpoint, say for an event? Obviously, you're a pro at it with your own event, of creating really good content. And you guys kind of came out of thin air 2 or 3 years ago, all around this concept and this niche of content creation. So, what were some of the things that helped you succeed in what you're doing?
Well, I think the first thing, thank you by the way, the first thing that I think it's important to say is what we were able to do in the past few years wouldn't have been possible 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We've done what we've been able to do because of content creation and social media, and we can go through that in a little bit and some of the things that we've done that has helped us. But what I've noticed, I have the opportunity to speak. I think this year will be over 50 in-person events. I do another 50 or 75 or so webinars a year, so I'm speaking all the time. What I've noticed with most events, association, independent trade show, large media company, most of them have a very set time for promoting that event. They'll start 6 months out, miss that, they have the early birds, whatever. What we realized is that you have to promote this 365 days a year. So as soon as, for example, as soon as Content Marketing World 2011 was done, the next day we started promoting the next show.
Yeah.
For a year later, we had a whole schedule laid out. That's not around promotional content. That's around really relevant, valuable content. It can keep hitting on it. Every day we have 2 fresh, original blog posts that are shared with a whole network of people that we can't reach unless our readership shares that content.
Right.
And our readership's not going to share that content unless it's great information. So shareable, like when people ask, what is good content? And the easiest way to say it is, good content is content that people want to share.
Yeah.
Because that says something about them. So I think from a trade show perspective, what we're seeing is you have to have a content marketing platform, whether that's a blog or whether that's a traditional media site or whether it's a podcast series, video, whatever the case is. You need multiple platforms where you are communicating the vision of what your event is, and you're like really recruiting members all year long, and you want that register now button active all year long. I don't see a lot of events doing that. I don't see a lot of events looking at especially when they're not a media company, like really hard-hitting content every day like a media company would, but all around the concepts of that event. I think that's what we're seeing change, and it's a mindset. I mean, trade show companies, associations that run media events, they have a very set way of doing things. You have a schedule. You have a calendar of how you do it. You know when you're going to promote each thing. So look, I would tell everybody, look at your calendar, move it all the way out. So the week take a week breather after your big event, and then start looking at all that really good, amazing content that's shareable to grow that network wider for the next year. I mean, our goal for every year doing a big event is to double every year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which is, I mean, which most people think we're crazy. So we'll do that this year. We'll be, and I think we can do it the next year. The only way that we can do that is we have to reach our readers' network.
Yeah.
And to do that, we've got to have shareable, amazing content that they want to send out through Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and SlideShare and Pinterest and everything else.
Yeah.
Join us in our continuing coverage of content marketing for trade shows with Joe Pulizzi in part 2 of Tradeshow Media Today.